yourselves where you had no clue someone was even there.
Do you plan to travel, work part-time, or move somewhere warmer when you retire? At Edward Jones, we understand that no two retirement paths are the same. Contact your local financial advisor today.
In Baton Rouge, call Robert Hodgson. In Prairieville, call David Commander. And in Central, call Chris Baker.
Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. That means we're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Got Jacob Beck and Jordan Kitchens back there on the ones and twos. Michael Cauble, WBRZ Channel 2 sports director, out at practice the last few days. Seen Cauble lugging the camera around, and he's lugging the camera around to player interviews right now. We'll be with Cauble in 30 minutes and tell us what he heard from a few folks that they were able to talk to. Jacoby and Guillory, I know. Will Campbell, I know. We'll see who else LSU brought out from for practice interviews, and we'll get Michael Cauble's thoughts on that coming up at 1:30. Bottom of hour number 2, Kat Terrell covers the New Orleans Saints for ESPN. She will be with us to talk about things that are going on out in Irvine. So lots and lots to get to. Thanks for starting your work week with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I want to start right now with my thoughts from practice this morning. LSU in helmets and full shoulder pads today. No full pads, no leg pads. Those will be on for Wednesday's workout, but a little more physical today with the real shoulder pads on. And I'll start with what I thought was the most interesting portion of practice today before we get into who was not there, who was there. One player left practice, a little dinged up, nothing significant. But I thought the most interesting thing we watched today were one-on-ones between the wide receivers and the corners, tight ends and the safeties. And if you'll recall, last year at this time, we saw a lot of that. And it was drastically one-sided. Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Chris Hilton and Kyron Lacey and those folks were running circles around the LSU defensive backs, and Jaden Daniels was dropping it in the bucket time and time again. It was almost like the offense was working against air, and it was in full one-on-ones. Now, keep in mind, and this is very important to point out, these drills are skewed towards the offense. When you're asking one defensive player to cover the entirety of the field with no help, that's tough to do. You've got scholarship wide receivers, in some case very, very, very good wide receivers and tight ends, who have the entire field to work with. So you would expect a higher completion percentage in this than you would in 11 on 11. There's no pass rush. The quarterback's got some time under no pressure, able to step into every throw. There's no safety help. There's no leverage. Like there's a lot to work with for the offense, and it's tough on the defense. So before I get into any of this, I'll tell you, like, that's what's going on in this drill. But once again, it was almost pitch and catch today. Almost pitch and catch. I charted one pass breakup, and I checked with Matt, who was there doing the same thing. He charted one pass breakup. Now, there were some underthrows. There were some overthrows. But only one time in what was probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, probably about 25 throws, only one time did I chart a pass broken up down the sideline or in the route. And it was Bernard Causey, the freshman, had one pass break up, and it was on a bit of an underthrow. The receivers just about took whatever they wanted once again. And while that is to be expected to an extent with this drill, as I've extensively laid out, it still makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, here's what I've got. This is coming straight off my notepad. Kyron Lacey, good rep with Ashton Stamps for a catch. Stamps had good coverage on that play. Mason Taylor beat Jordan Gilbert. Chris Hilton smoked Sage Ryan. Landon Ibieta beat Bernard Causey. Kamorian Pimpton was in a route. He fell down even and still made the catch on the sideline. Javen Nicholas beat Kylan Jackson. Nussmeier throws a gorgeous out route to Kyron Lacey, beats Ashton Stamps. It was good all the way around. Reasonable coverage, great throw, great catch. Mason Taylor ran right past Juwan Johnson. Kyle Parker ran right past Juwan Johnson. Tradez Green made a catch over Jordan Gilbert. Jelani Watkins beat Wallace Foster. Kyron Lacey beat P.J. Woodland on a back shoulder throw that they communicated. It was one of those where they set up, they did a hand signal, they figured it out, they ran a little deep route through a back shoulder. Great play by Kyron Lacey, good throw by Nuss. Kamorian Pimpton cooked Deshaun Spears easily, ran right past him up the seam, and Chris Hilton ran right past Cy Alexander. That's what I've got charted. Every single one of those went to the wide receiver. Now, that's not every play that we saw. There was a couple of underthrows. There was one bad overthrow where Joe Sloan got ticked, and I didn't see who the quarterback was on the throw. I was watching the route and forgot to look back and see who the quarterback was, and by the time I looked back, I couldn't tell who had thrown it. But Tradez Green was on a route, and he got open, and the ball went over the top, and Joe Sloan yelled at the quarterback group, "Let him touch it. He's 6'7". Let him touch the ball," meaning underthrow it. But don't make it to where he can't even touch the ball because he's such a matchup problem. And that's evident when you watch him. I will say that it's reassuring watching Mason Taylor run routes. He's great. Kyron Lacey looks fantastic out there. Nussmeier delivered some great balls. I love watching Tradez Green run routes. And very quietly, I think, early on, Chris Hilton is showing himself to be healthy and very, very good. And all that's very comforting to watch when I'm out there. But I'm not going to say, hey, it's just really good wide receivers. The corners will be fine. And Ashton Stamps did make a couple of plays. He had an interception that we'll talk about here in a second. But in this drill of one-on-ones with the receivers and the tight ends against the safeties and corners, it was one-sided in a big, big way. And you can't help being out there but teleport yourself back to the emotions that you had last year going, man, this offense looks great. And at the same time, you should have been going, man, do they have anybody that can cover? And it got there for me. I'm going to stop saying this eventually, probably when we get to the USC game. But like, I did pick Florida State to win the game last year because I actually went back this weekend and I went back and listened to my final pick for the Florida State game last year from my Friday segment on this show. Just kind of see kind of what I was sensing entering the game. And I said it explicitly. I was like, I don't think LSU's going to be able to cover anybody. And I think Keon Coleman's a problem. And I think Johnny Wilson's a problem, and I just don't think they're going to be able to cover, and they couldn't. And I'm concerned with this DB group. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat that anymore. I will tell you this, if you want to kind of drift to the other side on this, they did get into some 11-on-11, and a lot of it was in the run game, and there was some passing as well. But with the first-team offense against the first-team defense, I thought the first-team offense looked very good going down the field. Got into the red zone. They got a little bit of a pass rush. Nussmeier held the ball a little bit longer than he wanted to, tried to rip it in there over the middle, and Ashton Stamps made a great interception, made a great play on the ball. Like, it's early in camp. I'm not trying to sound off a million alarms, but I am trying to tell you like what I saw out there, and Stamps did make a really good play on a ball in the red zone. You can say, oh, Nussmeier's forcing it. There's the turnover bug again. Or you can say, oh, great job by Stamps to get in there and make a play and be competitive. But that's what I saw out there today. There's more that I want to get to a little bit later, but I don't want to like bury some of the lead here in terms of guys that weren't there. Xavier Thomas was not at practice today. I don't know why. I will tell you that when we were out there on Friday, he was getting iced down a little bit in the middle of practice, something with his leg, and he's a little bit gimpy. He did go out there after he had gotten a little bit of ice and caught some punts, and it certainly didn't seem like something that was, threatening long-term absence, but he did seem banged up on Friday. He did not practice out there today. Braden Swinson, once again, not out there. We have not seen him yet. Jalen Lee was not out there. We have not seen him yet. But I was encouraged that Zy Alexander was doing a little bit more today in the drills. He did go out there for the one-on-ones. He was being a little bit more ambitious with some of the things that he was taking on. And Javian Toviano was out there really working. I mean, he was out there on the punt team and looked like he was kind of getting himself back into the flow. I don't know if he just hadn't been working out enough over the last couple of weeks to be active in that first practice, but like he was dressed for the first practice that we saw on Thursday. He just didn't really do anything. He did a little bit more on Friday, and he was like out there. He was on the first team punt unit today. They made sure to call him out by name and get him out there. Last thing here before we get to some sound from Saints camp with LSU. I noticed Brad Davis a lot today, and he was really working with the second team unit. We talked about the second team unit back on Friday and who that was, and they were off with Brad Davis going through some pass rush stuff. And the first team was over with a different staffer, and they were doing some other things. But Brad Davis is really, I think, putting in some time with that second unit. It's Tyree Adams, it's Paul Mabenga, it's Cohen Eccles, it's Bo Bordelon, it's Weston Davis. And the first team really wasn't getting coached by Brad Davis today during these periods. It was all the second team going through some things. And, folks, it's not a walk in the park with Brad Davis when he's coaching you. He's coaching these guys hard. He's jawing at Weston Davis. Come on, 5-star. Come on, 5-star. And saying, you don't know what you're capable of. I guess I'm going to have to get it out of you. And he's busting Weston Davis's chops moving forward. Cohen Eccles was another guy he was coaching really tough at the center spot, saying, hey, you walk, you're coming back here to do it again. Hey, you finished last, you're going to come back here and do it again. He was getting on him. There was some colorful language being used by Brad Davis, but I think Brad obviously understands that he's got to coach this first group really hard because they've got to be kind of a backbone of this team, and he certainly will. But you understand, and as he said this to the guys, like, you're one play away from starting. And, like, Weston Davis just got here. Like, Tyree Adams has played 3 snaps. Cohen Eccles just got here. Paul Mabenga has not played. Like, these are guys who, without any experience, if you look at that second-team offensive line, Bo Bordelon's got 77 snaps, and Tyree Adams has 3. The rest of the guys have none. So he realizes, 1, I got to get these guys ready to go if I need them now, and 2, 4 starters are going to be gone in middle of January. 4 guys out the door. And this is the next group of guys that's going to have to step up and assume those roles. So I thought it was interesting. Very rarely, I feel like in my time going out to practices over the years, have I seen a position coach solely working with the second unit and having the first unit off doing something else. And Brad Davis was doing that for about 20 minutes today. And I think that's impactful. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts from practice today. There still is more into my notebook that I want to get to here, but that's kind of where it started for me today. Wide receivers and tight ends going to work on LSU's DBs, and Brad Davis working with that offensive line in the second group, and then some injury concerns and some guys we have not seen out there for the first 4 or 5 days of fall camp. They'll be back out there tomorrow. We'll have an opportunity to go out there and do it again. If you're looking for LSU camp coverage, we've got you covered. Hunt on LSU is where you can find all of our LSU football sound every single day. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. You'll get those videos right there to your homepage every single day. We've got a different practice report, and we'll be out there, I think, just about every time LSU takes the practice field during fall practice. All right, when we come back, we'll do some Saints Sound. Cauble coming up 1:30. He was just talking with some LSU football players, so we'll cover all of that. Busy first hour right here on Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Portions of the continental U.S. are going to get wet today due to that tropical disturbance, tropical storm, hurricane, whatever it is at this current juncture. But you understand it's storm season, and that stuff happens around here pretty frequently. If you want to give yourself the peace of mind of knowing that you're not going to lose power in the event one of those storms roll through, Boudreaux's Electrical can help you out with that. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electric for 40 years down in South Louisiana, and they will cover you anywhere in our listening area. Give them a call at 985-397-1562. Again, 985-397-1562. And have them come out and start the process of getting you in that Generac home standby generator today. I was sitting out Saturday in my front yard, and just that nasty storm came through. The wind was blowing like crazy. Boxes were flying around on streets in my neighborhood, and that can knock the power out and be a real nuisance. Give yourself the peace of mind, though, that's not going to happen for you, thanks to the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. Their website is fantastic. It's brand new. Check them out online, boudreauxelectrical.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Charles Henniger, join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch. We're at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Esco joins us from Las Vegas, and we got updates from LSU and Saints Camp. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Just made a huge mistake today, Beck. Just, as usual, I make plenty of mistakes.
As you do.
Look, we had our staff meeting at 9 o'clock this morning, and that's what we generally have on Mondays. And generally speaking, when I come into work, and I've been in sales for the last 2 years, which is about to stop as I start writing for LouisianaSports.net, but in sales, like I come to work in pants. That's not breaking news. It's just kind of how I choose to dress. I don't necessarily wear shorts, but I do wear shorts whenever I go to football practice because it's 1,000 degrees. Well, it was kind of like work coming in this morning for the meeting. Even though I knew I was going to football practice, so I came in pants, and then figured I'll just wear the pants out there and I'll come back and do the show. Well, it's 1,000 degrees. I just sweated through shirts, sweated through pants. Had to end up going home, take a shower, then come back.
You don't have any breathable pants, Hunt? You can wear, like some athletic pants?
I just don't know if I don't have any athletic pants.
Well, you know what I mean? Like golf, they made golf pants that are like.
But these are like Peter Millar, like golf. I don't know. I don't know how to. Should I just come to work in shorts for the meeting? Is that what I should have just done?
Yeah,
and then gone to practice in shorts.
I think it would have been acceptable to wear nice shorts.
I think so. It was poor. It was just poor decision making all the way around. I got a number of comments at LSU football practice. Why are you wearing pants?
Yeah.
You look like an idiot. And I was an idiot. There's no two ways about that. There is practice tomorrow. I'm going to wear shorts to that. And that's just going to
Just wear shorts, Hunt.
That's what's going to happen. All right. Let's talk a little bit of Saints here before we get to Michael Cauble, who was in shorts today at LSU football practice in about 10 minutes. Dennis Allen was with the media over the weekend and talked about what he's seeing, whether or not he's seeing what he wants from this offense in year one.
Some good things. I think it's still a work in progress. I don't think it's anywhere near what we want it to be, and yet we're 8 practices. New scheme, new system, got some new pieces in there, and we're not gonna worry about what the end result is yet. We're just gonna worry about the process and how we continue to get better every day. And
a little bit more one-sided, and that gives you what with the Saints offense and defense out in California. One of the guys that I thought was a very interesting story entering this training camp, and I don't know that he's been a very big story in the camp, is Dallin Holker, the undrafted free agent signee from Colorado State who has come in as a tight end. And a lot of times you'll get an undrafted player in that's 21, 22 years old. That's not the case with Holker because he's had a mission and he's in his mid to late 20s at this point. And you feel like that could be a guy ready to come in and give a more traditional tight end look than certainly Taysom Hill and maybe even to an extent Juwan Johnson, who is kind of built a little bit more like a wide receiver and is not quite as tall and rangy as some of the tight ends that you see in the NFL. I thought he had a real good chance to make the team and still do, but we haven't talked about him a lot, and Dennis Allen did speak to what he's seen from the rookie undrafted free agent.
I think he's probably a little further along as a receiving tight end than he is as a blocking tight end. And so I'd say that's an area that he's got to continue to work on and improve. What I do see and feel is, kind of a smart, savvy football player that, although he may not have an elite skill set necessarily, he's got football awareness and football intelligence, and that allows him to find soft spots and zones and things of that nature. He's really good when the picture changes, so for a young guy, to be advanced in that way from a football intelligence standpoint, I think is pretty impressive.
And I think that goes into the age where you've just been around a little longer. Not that he's been in the NFL, but he's just an older, more mature guy. He should be able to take whatever the Saints are throwing at him as far as scheme and what his responsibilities and assignments may be. So I think that's encouraging from Dallin Holker. Obviously, you have to work on the blocking aspect, but when you look at him as a prospect, it's a pass catcher first is what you're looking at. Speaking of pass catchers, the Saints are always kind of looking around for guys that can improve themselves there, and they signed 2 familiar names over the weekend, not familiar in the same way, one because he's been with the Saints previously, and the other because his brother's really good. They signed Marquez Callaway and Puka Nakua's brother, 2 guys that they brought into training camp, and Dennis Allen spoke to those 2 additions.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that went into it was we're kind of nicked up at the position. I think probably as much as anything, it was about let's get some more legs in here and see what these guys can do. I mean, obviously we've had Callaway, so I think we have an understanding of the type of player he is, and yet there's how does he fit into this scheme? And then Nakua's a bigger, kind of more physical type receiver. Look, a couple of plays caught my eye in terms of just blocking today. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
They're trying to figure out number 3, 4, 5 wide receiver. And depending on how many you keep on the roster, whatever, but you're looking at whatever the case may be behind Olave and then obviously Shaheed. And you've got a number of guys working there. You've got some veterans. You've got some younger players. You've got some smaller slot guys. You've got some guys who are bigger frames. And it just depends on kind of what you're prioritizing at that spot. We've seen a lot of Marquez Callaway over the last 5 years following the Saints. And he's pretty big body. He's had some nice moments in camp and in preseason. Has he been an impactful player in the regular season for New Orleans? Not really. And then Nakua, I think, is just a more physical presence. He's in the same mold as a little bit of Equinemius St. Brown and not necessarily in the mold of Tipton, who is a smaller guy with great speed. There's a mix of skill sets the Saints have brought in into this camp and are looking at what they want to do. And it's not something that's going to be – it's not going to be a thing that's going to drastically impact wins and losses here. You're talking about the 4th and 5th receiver who can give you some special team snaps and what that depth chart looks like. The guys who catch the lion's share of the passes on this Saints team are going to be Olave, going to be Shaheed, going to be some of Taysom Hill, some of Jawan Johnson, and then, of course, Kamara. Like, that's the vast majority of your receiving yards and catches on this team. They're just looking for some supplementary pieces and what may work best. Would I think that Marquez Callaway and Nakua have a great chance to make this roster? No. Do I think it's going to hurt bringing them in here early in camp? No. I think it's just fine. So that's kind of a look at wide receiver. Then some news here is Jake Haener, we understand, is dealing with the rare form of skin cancer. And Dennis Allen spoke to the procedure that is going to take place today for him.
I think there's going to be a procedure that's going to take place Monday. And so I think my anticipation as we sit here today would be that he'll probably miss practice on Monday. We have an off day on Tuesday, and I expect him to be back full go on Wednesday.
So that's great news. Obviously, you hear the word cancer, and immediately your antennas go up, and you fear serious things. And certainly, you don't want to diminish the severity of this or the significance of the skin cancer, but it sounds like, based on what Jake Haener is saying, that they identified it. It's pretty rare. They can do a procedure to remove it, and he can be back playing football pretty quickly, and that's fantastic news once you've got that initial diagnosis. And Jake Haener's right there in the middle of a huge battle with Spencer Rattler, and it sounds like there's been a lot of good from both guys. You're not looking for either one of these guys to be your starting quarterback in a Pro Bowl, or you're just looking for those guys to battle, to put some good reps out there, and to be a capable backup quarterback should Derek Carr miss a little bit of time like he did early in last season. And so Allen spoke to Haener's day over the weekend.
I thought he had a good day today. I really did. I thought there were some good things that I saw out of him, some good throws. You know, sometimes from my perspective, as I'm watching the defense and then I'm watching the offense, and I just want to make sure, you know, sometimes you see some of these plays and, man, they look like really good plays on the outside looking in. And yet what I want to know is, are we going through our progressions? Are we taking what's given to us? Because I think that over the course of time, that's what's going to allow you to be successful consistently. I saw some touchdown passes I saw in the last period, and I throw across the middle, you know, so there were certainly some things that caught my eye in practice in a positive way in terms of the way he operated.
You know what I hope? I hope Jake Haener is so awesome. I hope he's phenomenal. I hope Michael Penix is incredible. Why do I bring those two guys up? One played at Washington, one played at Fresno State. You may be catching on here. Those have been Kalen DeBoer's quarterbacks the last few years. And I hope those two guys are propping him up and he's not nearly as good. And when those two guys aren't there, he stinks at Alabama. That's really what I want to get to here. Hopefully, Jake Haener's a superstar, Michael Penix is a superstar, and that means Kalen DeBoer just got lucky because he got two really good quarterbacks, and now he's going to stink in Tuscaloosa. Are the odds good there? Probably not great, but I'm hoping. I'm dreaming. Allow me to dream, Beck. Dare to dream.
You're not. I didn't take you for much of a dreamer, Hunt.
I don't even know what that means.
You're just so negative about the Cubs.
Well, they sucked. They're last.
They won 3 of 4 against the Cardinals.
Awful team. Terrible team.
6 games out of the wild card.
Awful.
50 games left.
Traded their best reliever.
Got some prospects.
Let's talk to Caldwell next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, AVSSLA.com is the website. Football season is coming. The Saints' first preseason game's coming up this weekend on Saturday. Make your home this fall the place to come watch the game. The folks at Audio Video Security Solutions can help you with all that. Whether it's mounting a new television, they can supply the TV and handle the mounting of it. Maybe it's the surround sound in your living room. They can handle that. Maybe you want to host a game watching party. There will be some folks in the kitchen, some folks out on the back patio, some folks in the living room, and you want all the sound from all the televisions synced up so there's not different times or different sound all throughout the house. The folks at Audio Video Security Solutions can help you out with that as well, and it can all be controlled right there at a touch of a button on your smartphone app or the remote that they hook up for you. They make it so easy. I'm completely inept when it comes to technology, and Mitchell Fisher and the team at Audio Video Security Solutions have got it so easy that I can figure it out in my house. Give them a call, 225-439-7920, 225-439-7920. There's a reason Audio Video Security Solutions won People's Choice Award for Best Vendor at the Parade of Home. They are a phenomenal local company, has phenomenal capabilities and great customer service. You will not regret the phone call that you make to Audio Video Security Solutions. Check them out online, avssla.com. Again, that's avssla.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Tigers back on the practice field. We have full media availability. You'll have a practice report. And it's game week for the Saints. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Shout out to Trey Beal and the folks at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com is where you can find them. GCOPnet.com. You can do business with the big box stores and you probably get a good deal, but you can't get anybody on the phone, and it just makes things tough from a customer service perspective. Or you can do business with a mom and pop shop who will always pick up the phone but may not have the resources available to help you out. Gulf Coast Office Products splits that difference perfectly. They've got plenty of resources here throughout the state of Louisiana to service you from a printing, scanning, copying needs, and they're small enough that you're going to have fantastic customer service. Whether it's Trey Beal, your rep, or whoever the case may be, you'll always be able to get them. If there are any issues, they'll be able to come out the same day and fix them. It's just a fantastic company with great people and great products. It's Gulf Coast Office Products for your printing, scanning, copying needs. GCOPnet.com. They bring you our Monday shows each and every week. We got Cobble. All right, let's head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Michael Cobble, sports director at Channel 2, is our guest. Cobble, how we doing?
Doing well, Hunt. Doing well. Nice hot
late summer day for football practice, why not?
Did you see the moron radio guy that was out there with pants on today?
I did see that guy. There was somebody even dumber than you. There was a guy wearing jeans out there today. I couldn't believe it.
That was a tough scene there. That was jeans and a long sleeve sweatshirt type
Yes.
thing.
Yeah,
that
you
was
saw him, yeah.
that was a look. It's fine, just whatever you choose to wear. I mean, I'm still shocked that every year we go out there in August and there are position coaches in full on hoodies. It's every single year, and it's like that's just a football coach thing to wear hoodies when it's 101.
Yeah, it's got to be. And they got to smell so bad. Like, is it like an instant shower when they get back in there? Or is that like I don't know how they do that. Like, imagine sitting in those meetings and, you're sitting next to Bo Davis who's got the sweatshirt. I saw him today. So Bo actually lifted his shirt to wipe his face, and he had like a compression shirt underneath that. So my man's double layered there. Like, get it,
That's a lot. Has there been anything that's specifically caught your eye through the first half a week or so?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the aggressiveness of the offense in a different way, with just screens and pulling guards and outside zone stuff. Like they're really utilizing their skill set, I think, and you're seeing a lot of that. I'll talk about today, and we kind of get back to that. But today was one of those. I felt like at least was a kind of a push through it day. Like a lot of guys struggling with the heat, a lot of guys struggling with the intensity of the reps, and it got them early, from what I could tell. So it was fun. And I say fun loosely, but it was fun to watch Brad Davis, work with a young offensive line that he's trying to whip into shape and get acclimated to what college football is like. You could see the newcomers and maybe some of the transfers really going through it today. And so I asked Greg Penn about that afterwards in other interviews today. And he said, it's especially tough because yesterday was a recovery day for them, which means they didn't have to do anything. So it was like super light work. And then you get smacked back to reality today. And that was a little bit of what today was. But the thing that's standing out to me, I guess, is just, the offense, the way that they're utilizing their personnel, and maybe a little bit improved on the defensive side. Like you're seeing guys in the right spot. You're seeing guys, make some plays. Ashton Stamps with an interception today in the red zone, right at the goal line, really. You're seeing some improved play, which I think is, optimistic, right, for a team that struggled so mightily last year.
For sure. I didn't mean to raise any panic flags. I just kind of called it like I saw it. I thought that the one-on-ones that the wide receivers and tight ends ran against the DBs were exceptionally one-sided. I really only charted one pass breakup in that entire section of practice. I mean, did that look a little bit like last year to you, or am I overreacting to that? I mean, I did mention the Stamps pick when they got to 11 on 11. When they were just playing against there, I thought the wide receivers and tight ends kind of had their way.
Yeah, full transparency, I was working with the defense today, so I didn't get to watch that. But when I saw them in team situations, I felt like the defense was better. And that's something that BK said last year, which obviously wasn't true. but he did say, that it's a lot harder to defend in those one-on-one situations than it is when you're playing a full team defense. And so I didn't see that today, but that doesn't surprise me when you look at how talented this receiving core is and how much of a variable they are. I think really just the versatility that they bring to the field. And I think that's the thing, maybe you asked me what's standing out, just the versatility all around. You're seeing a lot of, whether it be in the linebacking core, whether it be in the wide receiver core, the tight end room, the running back room, like you're just seeing a lot of personnel looks that last year was pretty apparent. That's one thing Will Campbell said as well today was just, last year everybody knew what we were going to do, and you just lined up and they couldn't stop you. So this year he feels like they can still do that to some degree, but they're going to scheme a little bit more to really play to their advantage as well.
I want to talk to you about the player interviews, because that's obviously where I was not there and don't have any perspective on that, and would love to know some of the things that y'all heard today. But is there anything else from on the practice field you feel like is worth mentioning?
No, John Emery, I saw, got dinged up twice at practice and threw his helmet twice. I was joking with Matt Bruni about, we're getting a helmet toss counter, but, it made me think back to what BK said about how much they're testing him. And I almost feel like it's somewhat reckless with the amount that they're testing him. Like, I understand why, they're doing it, but man, I just feel like this dude is really going through the ringer right now. I don't know how fair that is to him. Like, I get it. I understand you want to make sure he knows that he's good to go. I would hate to see him get injured again. I did see him back in drills the second time. I don't remember seeing him back in drills the third time, so after he got hurt the second time. So that'll be something to monitor. I did watch, they took off his knee brace and checked out his knee, but then they strapped him back up, which, as I told Bruni, I was like, well, that's a good sign. At least they're not taking him off and he's walking on the field. So just something to monitor there. But, no, other than that, nothing really stood out. Obviously, depth. To me, it's going to be – I feel like they have depth. What does that quality depth look like? That'll be the question marks for this team. I watched a lot of the defensive line drills, and I watched a little bit of the secondary drills today. And it just feels like they got a lot of pieces. Like, I don't know that anybody's really standing out. I don't know that there's any person that's a difference maker right now. But, again, this is our third practice that we've got to watch.
For sure. Y'all got a chance to talk to the players for the first time today. I know Will Campbell said that he's here to win a national championship. That's a pretty bold statement to make right out of the chute.
Yeah, he was, and he was on one today. He was not holding back. The question was, what does he like about this team? And he said their grit. But then he kind of went into it a little bit more and basically said, but we've got to do something. Like, we've won 10 games and that's nice, but like, we need to win a national title. Like, we need to leave our mark. He said 10 wins around here gets people fired, which isn't exactly true, but I understand his point. Like, they're looking for more, they're capable of more. The one thing that I kind of got from everybody, and just a confirmation of what we've seen so far, is just I think they know what their potential is, and they understand the coaching that they're getting to reach that potential. Like, I asked the players, we've seen BK stop practice a number of times to make sure you guys are all locked in and focused, kind of going in the same direction. They're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, he's not letting anything slip. It's about the small details. Like, it's about reaching our potential, those kinds of things. But, hey, man, that's exactly what you want to hear, of a potential championship caliber team.
Who else did y'all get a chance to talk to today outside of Will Campbell?
So we talked to Kyron Lacey and Will Campbell on the offense. We talked to Jacoby Guillory and Greg Penn on the defense. Everybody did a really good job. I think that Jacoby Guillory is going to be an interesting case study as far as, like, knowing his role and playing his role each and every opportunity that he has out on the field. He's the guy that can't get hurt. He's the guy that can't get taken out of a game with personal fouls. He's the guy that's going to have to keep his head because, they're going to need him. And I asked him kind of that question, and he's like, man, that just makes me smile hearing you say that because, like, this is what I wanted. This is what I've waited for. This is what I've worked for. It's an opportunity. It was great to hear his response to that because that's exactly what you want to hear, and you're a little concerned about, will he be able to keep that mindset, when things get tough in a game. And he talked about what it's like in these camps and why they're making it hard on him. We talked to Kyron a little bit about just the versatility, in their room and their ability to make plays in space and how this offense is catering towards that. We talked to Greg Penn about, again, the offense and how good they look and how different they look and how much, how they're attacking this defense and how that's good for this defense because it's exactly what they need, to get better. So, yeah, it was an all around a good experience, hearing from some of the leaders on this team and how they kind of view this season and their build up towards it.
You think Kyron's ready to be a number one?
I think he is. I think he is. It's one of those things though, like, it's the expectation. So how do you, and everybody has that expectation, right? So how do you take that moment and that expectation and still meet it? Like, that was the deal with Malik last year, was like, he not only met it, he exceeded it. Now it's kind of like, it's not a fluke. It's consistent that they've been able to do this at the wide receiver position. So now there's an amount of pressure, I think, that comes along with that to step into that role and fulfill that role. That will be the challenge, right? I mean, he's got the gifts. I think they've got the offense. I really do think that this offense is going to be much more multiple. Now, only one guy can touch the ball at a time, so I think that's going to be the challenge. I don't know that we're going to see any of the big numbers. I've been really, though, impressed with Chris Hilton early on.
Yeah.
And just the way they're using him, I just really hope he's a guy that can stay healthy, because he is so gifted in space, and he's got the speed that can take his top off if needed. That I really want to see what a fully healthy and potent Chris Hilton can be in an LSU offense.
What y'all got coming up on Channel 2 this week?
Man, a lot of what we just talked about today. I mean, obviously we're going to utilize those player interviews. We're going to talk about the difference in this offense and how it looks different and how it's going to attack defenses differently. And we'll talk a little bit about the personnel in there, it's really from in every position group. I feel like it's kind of a similar story. Tight end room, deeper than it's ever been, versatile. Running backs, not deeper than it's ever been, but versatile. Like John Emery's speed caught me by surprise on day one. Like his quickness, especially coming off of injury. Like, can we see that in the game? How do they utilize all these weapons? And they're getting coached hard, which is exactly what you want to see. So it's going to be fun. We're getting close, right? Building up, but we're still far enough away, that we can kind of pace ourselves a little bit.
Michael Cobble, sports director over there at Channel 2. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Hunt. Have a good one.
Sure will. We'll see him back out there on the Ponderosa tomorrow. Coaches poll is out. Where does LSU fall in the inaugural coaches poll? We'll tell you coming up next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has you covered all summer long. They got fantastic promos on the app. You can check them out online at espnbet.com. Get a first bet reset for you, up to $1,000 in bonus bets back if your first bet loses. Check it out, ESPN Bet on the app or online. Check out the LeBears Sportsbook. If you're not a member, you can get the Pin Play app today. LeBears Baton Rouge Casino is your live sports headquarters. You can bring your crew for all the action. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 877-770-STOP.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscone. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a
On Tuesday's OTB, we'll bring you the latest from Paris, Saints training camp, LSU football training camp. Plus, Nick Underhill stops by and our guy Holden Mayo with some spread lines. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Coaches polls out. First top 25 preseason poll here. LSU comes in right about where I think it makes a lot of sense. Number 12. That is firmly right there on the bubble to make the playoffs. And I think that is very, very fair. You've got Missouri right there at 11 with LSU. You got Tennessee at 15. Oklahoma at 16. I think all those teams being bunched up right there on the playoff cut line makes a lot of sense because that's what we feel like they are. Georgia's very much on the inside. I think we feel Texas is as well. They're up towards the top of the poll. The teams that are more so on the bubble, right around that 12 number. Beck, let's do an exercise here just for grins. I'm going to read out the team in the coaches poll. Just tell me what conference they're in.
Okay.
Number 1, Georgia.
SEC.
Number 2, Ohio State.
Big 10.
Number 3, Oregon.
Big 12. Or Big 10.
10.
I did Big 10. Yeah, Big 10.
Number 4, Texas.
SEC.
Number 5, Alabama.
SEC.
Number 6, Ole Miss.
SEC.
We've only used 2 conferences thus far. Number 7, Notre Dame.
They're no conference.
But as we continue, number 8, Michigan.
Big 10.
Number 9, Penn State.
Big 10.
That is 2 conferences through the top 9. We finally deviate at number 10 with Florida State, ACC. And then we go Missouri,
SEC,
LSU,
SEC.
So that is 10 of the first 12 with Notre Dame not in a league and Florida State in the ACC are from 2 leagues, the SEC and the Big Ten. So that's basically
we got a lot of parity, you know?
It appears that way. You got Utah in the Big 12 at 13, then Clemson, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Miami, Texas A&M, Arizona, NC State, and then at number 23 in this poll, you've got the USC Trojans, who LSU will open with. Kansas and Iowa round out the top 25. So I guess let me do the numbers on how many of these teams are SEC and Big Ten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 of the 25 from the Big Ten or the SEC. LSU comes in at 12. How do you feel about LSU at 12 there, Beck?
That seems pretty reasonable, I think. I would expect that they will be somewhere in that range for the AP as well.
You would think. I think that's kind of where LSU sat at the end of last year when you're sitting there looking at 9-3-ish. That's 9-3 and 10-2 is going to put you somewhere between 9 and 15, 16.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. So that's just where we think LSU is. If they overachieve and they get a couple of balls to bounce their way, I think you're probably looking at a team that's 7, 8, 9 that's in the playoff. If they have a couple balls bounce the other way, I think you're looking at 18 and they're not in the playoff. So I think 12 right in the middle of that to split the difference makes a ton of sense. And I haven't gotten a sense from a lot of LSU fans that they feel like that a lot differently than that. I haven't seen a lot of folks thinking that this is an 11-1 football team. I haven't seen a lot of teams thinking they're going 7-5. I think that everybody kind of is falling somewhere between 10-2 and 8-4.
It seems like the floor is pretty high. Maybe the ceiling not as high.
You never know. I mean, because of the schedule's pretty favorable. If LSU was going to Athens, I don't know if anybody here would say that's one they can win, but I don't think there's any game that you would point to an LSU schedule and go, you can't win that. There's no game you look at, well, you're an 11-point dog in that game. Like, that game doesn't exist. All the most difficult games are thought to be at home. Yeah, at A&M's tricky. Yeah, playing USC in Vegas is a little tricky, and certainly Ole Miss is riding high. They're number 6 in this poll. Bama's number 5 in this poll. They come to you. So does Oklahoma, who's number 16 in this poll. But it feels like there's some general consensus on LSU at this point, and I think 12 is pretty fair for the coach's top 25. Hopefully, the Tigers outperform that, but we shall see. That's it for hour number 1 here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. My practice report at the top of the hour, top of the show. You can catch that on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. Had some Saints sound from Dennis Allen on Sunday at 1:15. Michael Cobble from WBRZ, the sports director over there, who's been at practice and player interviews, was with us at 1:30. And plenty to get to in hour number 2. Catherine Terrell is going to join us from out in California to talk about Saints camp at 2:30. I've got more thoughts on LSU's practice today at 2:15. And when we come back, we'll do some Meet the Freshmen. 2 a day, every single day until we've gone through them all. Started up last week, and we got 2 more guys to talk about on the other side of SportsCenter. Hope your work week is off to a really, really good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Come back after SportsCenter. It's a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Is SportsCenter.
Simone Biles capped off her 2024 Summer Olympics by earning silver today in the floor exercise final, her 11th career Olympic medal and 4th in Paris. NFL Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy at the podium today at training camp was asked about the holdout of receiver CeeDee Lamb, said it is a business matter. They understand the time he's putting in. Lamb's looking for a deal similar one recently signed by Minnesota's Justin Jefferson. This is Football Podcast host Kevin Clark.
The argument, well, Lamb is in Justin Jefferson. Well, every day you wait, you're going to pay Justin Jefferson prices. You could have gotten this deal done a year ago, but that's not how they handle their business. And so they end up on podcasts complaining all of this stuff. This is a symptom of how the Dallas Cowboys operate, and it's always wrong.
About a month after he was cited for suspicion of driving under the influence, Vikings receiver Jordan Addison was formally charged. His arraignment set for October 7th. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Rams receiver Puka Nacua week to week with a knee injury. Injury is not believed to be serious. Baseball, Braves righty Reynaldo Lopez with forearm inflammation put on the injured list.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Jim Harbaugh is back. Justin Herbert is already hurt. I'll tell you if the Chargers fans should already be worried about their season. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate you hanging out with us to start your work week. Catherine Terrell, 30 minutes from right now, from out in... Looking for the name. It's just
Irvine?
Irvine, that is it. For some reason, that just wasn't clicking. Irvine is where they are. It's where the Saints are practicing. They've been there for 2 weeks. I've been talking about it every single day for 2 weeks.
Also,
just couldn't come up with the word Irvine.
Also, is she the reason why Luke Johnson went on that hike? Because if so, then that's the reason why we didn't have him on the show as well.
She was with Luke. I don't know if she's the reason he went on the hike. They're both hiking people. They enjoy that type of thing, which I would never do.
Right, yeah,
voluntary
hiking.
torture in my estimation. Walking where you're not supposed to walk is what hiking is.
That's what it is.
Golf cart riding, very good at that. I endorse that type of behavior. Even to an extent, bicycle riding, even though I'm not big on that. Hiking, no shot.
You don't even endorse walking on golf courses.
No,
do you?
that's a terrible decision. They have golf carts for a reason.
So you're never gonna play golf in Scotland or any of those.
No,
other
I'm happy
countries,
to do
right?
it there. If I'm at the old course,
okay.
I'll hoof it. I walked at Cypress Point. That was just fine. Regular day in Louisiana, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And I had a deal with when I played at Pebble Beach. I had a deal with my caddy where if I hit the green from the fairway, then I would walk with my putter because I was happy. I was in a good mood. Like we'll have a good putter walk down the fairway. If I miss, we're probably not in a great mood. Let's hop in the cart and make it work. So he was on that page. If I hit the green from the fairway, he'd hand me my putter, and then he'd take the cart up, and I'd walk along the ocean, and that's great. Here, I don't see any oceans. It's 1,000 degrees. Golf cart.
Fair enough.
Ice chest, towel, speakers, all good. Tough day out in Paris for Cloth and Nuss, the LSU-centric beach volleyball team. Such an incredible duo. They cruised through the group play stages with 3 straight wins, and they were beaten straight sets today by the Canadian team over in Paris. Just a really, really disappointing deal. I think about them because it's really been all eyes on this Olympics for them for 4 years. And they played so well early. They did drop a set in one of the matches, but they were able to come back and win the last two. And you realize how quickly these volleyball games go. It's like less than an hour. So like their dreams of 4 years just got boiled down to 50 minutes and gone. And that is such a tough realization to come to. And they are young, and they'll have an opportunity to come back in 4 years. But it does feel, and trust me, I'm not trying to be a beach volleyball, I'm not trying to be a beach volleyball expert here, but like feels like in terms of their age and your prime, like this was their best shot at Olympics, and it didn't go the way they wanted to.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't get to watch most of the I don't know. I guess they call it match.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of it, and the team they were playing was not actually supposed. They aren't supposed to. It was really an upset, honestly.
They were 1-2. That team. They barely got through.
They barely got through. So it was really shocking to see. They had a pretty solid. Cloth and Nuts had a pretty solid lead in that first set, and let the Canadians come back. And then the second game was close too. But yeah, man, that's tough. Really tough for them to go out that way. And yeah, like you said, that's 50 minutes. And I was kind of thinking about this. I was watching some track and field events and saw a few people in a couple of races get hurt in the race. And it's like, man, you train so hard and you end up not being able to finish just because of an injury. And it's like 4 years of training for that. It's crazy to think about.
I was actually thinking about when I was watching the 100 yesterday. Like those guys train and train and train, and you've got 9.7 seconds to get this right. That's all you got. And that was an incredible theater, an incredible race. But when I think about it in terms of like a Major League Baseball series, like best of 7, like you got
plenty of chances.
You got a week and a half to go out there and make your impact. They got 9 seconds in the 100, and they've got 50 minutes in beach volleyball, and obviously a disappointing result for Cloth and Nuts, who played great for a week, but that won't be what's remembered. They are out in the round of 16. All right, let's meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
Couple on the defensive side of the football today. Tylen Singleton is first. He is from Manny, Louisiana, up in the 318, 6'1", 212-pound linebacker. He, with that Manny club, played for 3 state championships, won 2 of those. He was actually the most valuable player in the state championship game as a freshman back in 2020. Throughout his career at Manny, he played safety, played some linebacker. The thought is because of that big 6'1", 6'2" frame that he'll be able to put on enough poundage to be a solid linebacker at LSU. Who's a consensus 4-star recruit, a consensus top 8 player in the state of Louisiana, and not a guy I expect to see a lot of defensive time this year. LSU's linebacking core is old and I think very, very good. I really like Greg Penn and Harold Perkins and both Weeks brothers. I think that's a really good group that LSU brings in the middle of that defense. And I think that's going to allow some of these younger players time to grow up and mature and hopefully step into action next year. And they're going to have to, because Greg Penn will be gone and Harold Perkins will be gone, and you're going to have some turnover at the linebacker spot. And Tylen Singleton, to me, is a guy that you would imagine steps into that role next year. He probably needs to put on 15 pounds to feel like you can really play at that weight in the middle of the defense. Now, Harold Perkins is not a ton bigger than Tylen Singleton, but that's a little different breed of athlete and a little different skill set that Harold Perkins brings. But I think Tylen Singleton's going to be a really, really good player. He's a great high school performer in the state of Louisiana, and reasonably believe he'll be a really, really solid college player at LSU. Likely, though, his biggest impact will start next year. The other guy that we'll talk about on the defensive side is Deshaun Spears, formerly Deshaun McBride, a Denham Springs product. This is a big dude, 6'3", 210-ish pounds. This feels like Eric Reed, local product, big frame, big build, and a guy that's going to put on some weight and could really be an enforcer at the safety position. He had 19 interceptions over his final 2 high school seasons at Denham Springs. That's really, really strong production at that safety spot. For track for Denham Springs, he ran the 100 and did the long jump. So a really good athlete with that big frame. That's interesting. He's a consensus 4-star, a consensus top 7 player in the state of Louisiana. Both 24/7 and ESPN had Deshaun Spears number 3 player overall in the state of Louisiana. And I can tell you this, when you go out to practice and you look at Deshaun Spears, he looks imposing. Like he's already kind of got that build. The smallest freshmen that I've seen on this team are actually the corners. Wallace Foster, Bernard Kazi, those guys are small. They're slender. Deshaun Spears is not. He's a big dude. And LSU's old at safety. Major Burns is really old. Sage Ryan is really old. Jordan Gilbert is old. Like, they've got old players there. But you've got a young group with Kylan Jackson and Deshaun Spears and Joel Rogers and some of these guys that you feel good about the depth of that position as you enter camp and into this season. I fully expect that Burns and Ryan, I think he's going to move back off of corner when Zy Alexander gets a little healthier. But those guys, I think, are going to log the vast majority of the snaps. Jordan Gilbert and even Jordan Allen has played a lot early on in camp. But Deshaun Spears looks the part. And if they can get him up to speed, I would imagine that he could play some special teams for you this year. And I feel like he's got a real chance to compete this coming spring for playing time at safety. Burns will be gone. Gilbert could be gone. Ryan will be gone. Jordan Allen's there. Kylan Jackson's there. They're going to have some real competition at that safety spot. And I think likely there's going to be some attrition at that spot because they just have too many guys at safety. But I Spears has caught my eye the first couple of days out there at camp because of his size, and I'm impressed with him. So that's Tylen Singleton and Deshaun Spears, our Meet the Freshman installation for today. Tomorrow we will go to the offensive side of the football, to a couple of offensive linemen, Kyrie Lee and Cohen Eccles. Cohen Eccles was getting coached today by Brad Davis. Talked a little bit about that at the top of the show. We'll talk about those two guys tomorrow, but Tylen Singleton and Deshaun Spears on today's installation. When we come back, some news around the running backs for LSU, how the reps have been divvied up. One guy was really unhappy and was a little bit banged up today. We'll talk about what I saw from the running backs coming back on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Evolve Physical Therapy. EvolvePT.com is the website. Robbie Bolton has about 20 years as a physical therapist, and Evolve Physical Therapy is the physical therapy clinic in town. If you have been injured or had some pain and discomfort, and you've been sent somewhere for physical therapy and you just did not enjoy your experience there, you didn't feel like it was a hands-on experience, you felt like you weren't significant, or you were just kind of tucked into a corner and told to do some exercises, change all that. Evolve Physical Therapy in Sports. Robbie Bolton and his team are going to be with you for the entirety of that appointment. They're going to be helping you through each and every single individual exercise. They're going to do all the dry needling and the cupping and the scraping. They'll handle your isokinetic testing. They'll be right there so that you can get back to being your active self. Whether you're a youth athlete, whether you're in your 60s or 70s and trying to get back to being your active self, doesn't matter. Never too old, never too young for Evolve Physical Therapy. Check them out online, evolvept.com. You can see them on Starring near Highland Road. Again, that's on Starring near Highland Road. It's Evolve Physical Therapy in Sports. Check them out, evolvept.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch. We're at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Esco joins us from Las Vegas, and we got updates from LSU and Saints Camp. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Go out west, chat with Cat Terrell coming up in 15 minutes. Saints, another practice today as they get ready for Saturday's preseason opener with Arizona. I was out there at practice today, and Frank Wilson's been at LSU for a long time. This is obviously stint number 2, but we're familiar with kind of how he handles his position. And so it should come as no surprise that he's doing things this camp as he's done throughout his time at LSU. And that's mixing things up. A lot of different guys, a lot of different reps, a lot of different groups. I got asked in a radio hit that I did back on Saturday, now, do you think someone's going to step up and take over the reins of this running back position and kind of be the bell cow? And I said, no, I don't. I don't think that's the end of the world. You don't have to have a 1,600-yard rusher to have a good running game. That's fine. It's great when Leonard Fournette runs for 1,700 yards and 20 touchdowns. That's fantastic. It's awesome when Clyde Edwards-Helaire takes the reins of that position in 2019 as one of the most dynamic players in the country. That's great. But it's also great when the 2011 team comes at you with Spencer Ware and then Michael Ford and then Alfred Blue and then Kenny Hilliard. That's fine too. It's great when the 2007 team runs at you with Jacob Hester, and then Charles Scott, and then Keelan Williams, and then Trenton Holiday. You can mix things up. You can have different guys shouldering different amounts of the workload. And I fully expect that's what's going to happen with LSU as far as running back goes. And that has held up when we go out there to practice. And I've seen John Emery run with the ones with the first rep of the drill. I've seen Caleb Jackson run with the ones in the first rep of the drill. I've seen Josh Williams run with the ones. All 3 of those guys have different skill sets and have been given the opportunity to play with the first team. And I believe that will continue into September. I would venture to guess that Josh Williams will be out there on the first snap more than some of the other guys. Like, that would be my guess. But I couldn't tell you for sure. I mean, let's keep in mind, last year, the first play of the season was a swing pass to Trey Bradford. We didn't talk about Trey Bradford ever during camp last year. So, you never quite know, but I like the fact that LSU is giving a lot of different guys opportunities to go with the first team. Everyone is going to call for Caleb Jackson to be the dude on this team. Everyone's going to, because you see the size, you see the speed, you see the highlights, you understand the upside. There's nothing that fans like more than upside. It's tantalizing. But there's nothing more coaches like than dependability. And those two don't necessarily always match up. They don't create the same outcome. So, yeah, I think that Caleb Jackson's the biggest and the fastest that they've got. Well, he's not the fastest anymore. Caden Durham's that. But the most physically gifted back in terms of just attributes when you add them all together. And they'll use him in that way, but they're not going to force feed him the ball where he ends up with 70% of the carries. Josh Williams is going to get his, Caleb Jackson's going to get his, and John Emery's going to get his, and then we'll see what's left for Caden Durham, I think. Now, today was an interesting case, and you've heard this, and Caldwell talked about it an hour ago if you were listening, but John Emery has really been going through drills hard the first week of camp. He's coming off a knee injury. It's gruesome, no contact injury down there in the north end zone. And he's got a brace on, but he's going through drills. And Brian Kelly said, we got to give him some hard reps so that he understands that he's tested his knee and he can trust it. Well, I don't know how much he's going to want to trust it after today. Because if you were out at practice today and watching, John Emery left drills 2 different times and threw his helmet both times because he just wasn't feeling comfortable. And I'm not, as I've mentioned last week, an orthopedic or an MD. I don't know. I'm not a physical therapist. I don't know how quickly things heal and how quick that process takes. So I can't sit here and tell you how healthy I think John Emery and Zy Alexander are going to be in Vegas in 3.5 weeks. I don't know. But I can tell you that both guys have braces on and that Emery's doing more than Alexander right now, but that today didn't go great. I don't know if that's a one-day setback for Emery or if it's something more significant than that. I would venture to guess it was just a one-day setback for him there, and he's frustrated because he wants to play. And he will, I think. But there's not really a starting running back, and I don't think that's going to irk people. I think everyone's okay with that as long as you're productive and you're not predictable by personnel. You can't have Josh Williams out there every time you want to throw it, and you can't have Caleb Jackson out there every time you're running between the tackles, and you can't have John Emery out there every time you're running a swing pass, and you can't have Caden Durham out there every time you're, there's a lot of things that fit into Caden Durham's skill set. The home run is, I think, chief among them. But it's right now looks to be kind of just a good, solid position group. And that's, while the depth is not quite there, you've only got 4 of them, I think LSU is going to be just fine there. Probably the highlight of the day from a running back perspective, Josh Williams made a really nice one-handed catch on a swing pass when they were doing some 11-on-11 stuff. Wasn't able to turn it up the field because there was a jailbreak because the pass was bad. It was behind him, and he had to catch it with one hand. But he looks good. He looks healthy, which is very good. Caden Durham looks really good, explosive, healthy. Caleb Jackson looks really good, explosive, and healthy. And we'll see what John Emery is, but certainly today he was frustrated because he couldn't quite plant and do the things he wanted to do on that surgically repaired knee. So this is Frank Wilson's MO. This is what he likes to do. And trust me, if you don't like my thoughts on it, well, trust the guy who played in one of these rooms in 07. Really in 05 and 06 as well. He shared time with Joseph Adai and all those guys. Hester knows the benefit of having multiple options in the running back room. And while there's not a ton that's abundantly clear from a week out there, it appears to me that the running back rotation is pretty fluid and pretty well spread out for the 4 guys they've got out there on scholarship. So, bummer for John Emery to be banged up a little bit, but big time for him to be out there working, and hopefully we see him again tomorrow, and it wasn't just a deal today where he kind of re-injured something and has to take some time off. I have no reason to believe that's the case, but I'm curious to see kind of what he evolves into here over the next month. All right, that's our thoughts from LSU's camp today. If you're looking for LSU football content, you can always find it Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Hunt on LSU. Subscribe up to the channel and go ahead and follow it. We'll be posting videos every single day for LSU football. It's that time of year. If you're just craving the content, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com is the website for all your printing, scanning, copying needs, no matter what your vertical industry is, whether you're in healthcare, finance, whether you're a law firm, media company like us, education, no matter what. Trey Beal and the team at Gulf Coast Office Products is also helping out someone else in that field. They'll know what the needs are from printing, scanning, copying perspective for each individual market. If you've never given that any thought, call the folks at Gulf Coast Office Products or check them out online, gcopnet.com, and make sure that you've got exactly what it is that you need. Trey Bill is a fantastic rep, fantastic dude right here in Baton Rouge. Shout him out, gcopnet.com, and get your printing, scanning, copying needs taken care of from our friends over at Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, we'll take a time out. When we come back, Kat Terrell from out in Irvine. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Visit LeBare's Baton Rouge Casino this summer for exciting live sports action. We've got the biggest screens around, and ESPN Bet is live in Louisiana. Plus, Pin Play Rewards members can win up to $500 in pin cash every single week. Visit pinplaysports.com/cover5 today and register for your chance to play and win. Not a member? Get the Pin Play app today. LeBare's Baton Rouge Casino, your live sports headquarters. Bring your crew for all the action. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Tigers back on the practice field. We have full media availability. You'll have a practice report. And it's game week for the Saints. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Day 11, Saints camp out in Irvine. Black and Gold getting ready for their preseason opener coming up on Saturday. Kat Terrell covers the Saints for ESPN. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Catherine, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm roaming around my hotel right now trying to find a spot to talk. I think that's camp life for you, right?
It is, and you're sounding good, so we're all good from that perspective. Look, there's no such thing as a healthy training camp. Everybody's going to have bumps and bruises, but I'm looking at the folks that we're not seeing today at camp, and the list is growing by the day, and it includes Marshawn Lattimore, Rashid Shaheed, Pete Werner. You're talking about Demario Davis, Nick Saldiveri, Kendre Miller, Paulson Adebo, like guys that you would expect to play. Is there any concern over that, or it's just kind of part of the process and everybody should be back in the next 10 days or so?
Well, I think there should be concern over some of them. You know, with Shaheed, I think he's dealt with hamstring problems before. I think even last year he dealt with hamstring problems, so you could be concerned that's a recurring problem. My bigger concern with Shaheed is the wide receiver room just kind of feels decimated right now. You know, haven't seen Bub Means in a while, and that's a guy that needs to be on the field, you know, being a rookie. So it felt like so much of camp today was Pastor Olave. And, you know, to his credit, he caught them, but that kind of stood out to me. Two of the other ones, Demario Davis, if any guy is going to be on this camp, I think it would be him. You know, this happened last year. He doesn't need camp. But Kendre Miller, I think that's a big one because I think right now the running back room is Kamara and everyone else, and Miller needs to be on the field to prove himself.
Let's talk wide receivers, and then we'll get to the running backs. You mentioned it's Olave, and Shaheed's not out there. Is there anyone else kind of standing out with the opportunity given in these additional reps?
Well, I think that Mason Tipton has really made a name for himself in camp. You know, the undrafted rookie free agent from Yale. I think that he's done a lot of good things. He had a couple of, I'm looking at my notes, he had a couple of good catches today with the twos, I believe, and the 2-minute drill. So you know, he's a guy that's caught everyone's eye. I think just going down the list, Cedric Wilson's had a decent camp. He did miss some time, but he's back. But when you kind of look at the receivers, there's pass catchers in front of them. So it's not totally detrimental that there's some problems with the receiver room. You have Kamara, you have Taysom. They're going to catch passes. Juwan when he comes back. But it's definitely a little bit of a concern that Olave kind of has set the bar so far above everyone else because no one's really rushing to take that number 2 spot behind him.
Is anybody rushing to take the number 2 spot behind Kamara?
Yeah, that's the other problem. And no, I don't think so. I wonder if the number 2 is on the roster right now. Honestly, I think that Jamal has had a few good days the last few days, but no one has really kind of stepped up there. Jordan Mims has had a good camp, but Jordan Mims has had a good camp for where he is. You know, he's had a good camp in terms of he's looked good and he is contending for a roster spot versus, you know, Jordan Mims is ready to be the number 2 to Alvin Kamara. So in my mind, that is a concern right now.
You mentioned Jamal Williams, like just a complete non-factor last year. Has there been any discussion as to why that was and what could be different this year?
I think maybe the offensive line had some part in that. Obviously, they couldn't figure things out until they shifted things around in week 6, week 7, around that point. But I think that I haven't seen a huge step up from last year from him in terms of training camp. So that's a bit of a concern. You kind of wonder, okay, well, what kind of years Jamal going to have? If the offensive line plays better, will that help him? Don't know. Kamara wasn't in there today, by the way. He had a rest day. But yeah, running back is an area I'm like, they could be going and looking for people after camp ends. I'm not really sure though.
We'll see. Let's go to the defensive side of things. Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, no shows today. That means, in my head, that's a lot of reps for Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. What have you seen from those two over the course of 2 weeks?
Well, I think one of the most fun things to watch has been the Alontae Taylor and Chris Olave one-on-ones, so-called rivalry, even though they're clearly friends. I think it's been fun to see them up against each other. Taylor has said they seek each other out. They make each other better. So I think that Taylor's had a good camp in my mind. I think Kool-Aid is getting there. I think he had a PBU in 2-minute drill today. Don't quote me on that, but I'm looking for now, but I think I wrote it down. So, he's made some nice plays. So I think it's good for him to get these reps. We don't know how long Marshawn's going to be out. Cornerbacks get hurt. So even if Marshawn comes back at the end of training camp or whatnot, I think Kool-Aid is going to be placed into a situation where he's going to have to play a decent amount this year. Just look at the end of last year. They were playing, whoever could stay healthy. So I think we've seen good things from him, but, there is a progression and a lot more to go.
Look, this is a leading question, so forgive me, but it just feels like I've talked to so many people, and it's kind of the same story over and over again. But it sounds like Chase Young has kind of been the positive standout story. Has that been the case in your experience?
Absolutely. And honestly, I was thinking about that on the drive back to my hotel because, we leave football and then we think about football more and we think about how the practices went, even though, we just read about it. But I was just thinking how Chase Young looks heads and tails above everyone else on that particular unit. Now, that's a good thing depending on how you look at it. They paid him a lot of money. He has come in and just not missed a beat from that neck surgery. I think that's great. I think he's consistently making a presence. He's making his name known. We'll see how it translates to the regular season, but obviously very optimistic right now. Behind him, that's the bigger question. Carl Granderson, you would think that he's a guy that could have a good season, could be seeing a lot of playing time next to Young. Peyton Turner returned today after missing practice yesterday, so that's a good sign. Injuries are his main concern. But my biggest question right now is Cam Jordan and what he looks like this year after having a down season last year. I think that's a huge question still.
No question about that. Cam not very productive from a pass rush perspective last year. Hopefully there's a little bit more in that tank. Catherine Terrell is our guest, covers the Saints for ESPN out there in Irvine as Saints get ready for game week this week against the Cardinals. Do we feel like Jake Haener is going to be available to play this weekend? I know that he had that procedure today. What do we know about that?
I think that's the plan. When they discussed the procedure a few days ago, they said, or God, it may have been a week ago when we first talked about it, they said that Haener was only supposed to miss one practice and then he should be good. Things can change, I guess. We don't have any updates on how it went, so I can't say for sure he's going to play, but it sure seems like the entire idea is that he only misses one practice. He gets tomorrow, their day off to recover, and then he'll play this weekend. Now, Dennis Allen is keeping playing time very close to the vest. He doesn't really want to talk about playing time for anybody, but you have to think that Haener and Rattler would both get a half. I think that'd be the most fair way to do it. I just don't know who would start.
I've got a list of players here that I feel like I haven't talked enough about on my show, and we're not out there, so I got to kind of lean on y'all if there's anything to report on any of these guys. But Jordan Howden and Brian Brzee are two guys that I haven't heard a lot about. I know Brzee missed some time with a foot injury earlier. Anything from those two?
I like how Brzee has played the last few days. I think that he has had a tip pass at the line of scrimmage 2 days in a row. He did it yesterday, I believe. Sorry, the days run together.
Yeah.
Against Derek Carr. And then I actually thought it was Chase Young for a second because Young was right there ready to get the ball if needed, which, that's great. They've been interesting. Not totally about Brzee, but kind of interesting wrinkle in one of their sub packages. They move Cam Jordan inside next to Brzee, and they have Young and Granderson on the outside. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to seeing during the season. But I think that as far as Brzee goes, his run defense is probably the thing he needs to work on the most. I think everyone said that since last year. But so far so good. Howden, I think, has just been a little quieter. Not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe we're so focused on the corners and the defensive line that we haven't really watched the safeties as much. And so maybe that's just on me. But, yeah, I haven't really noticed too much from him, good or bad, in this first few weeks of camp.
Is he the presumed starter right there next to Tyron? Is that the way it looks right now?
Well, I think Jonathan Abram could still contend for that spot. So, it could be either one of them in my mind.
All right, so veteran versus a young guy there. Just kind of depends on what Dennis Allen thinks. Big picture with the defense. I know we have talked about the offense a ton and the things that need to happen under Clint Kubiak in year one, but do we expect the defense to still be a top half of the NFL unit with Dennis Allen and maybe an aging group of core players?
The age thing worries me. I kind of worry how long, Demario Davis's body can hold up. Cam is a big question to me. I think we talk about Tyron like he's old, even though he's only 32. He's just played a long time. Yeah. But I think Tyron will be okay. But, that's the heart and soul of your defense. And so when two of them are 35 and one is hurt right now, it's a concern. But I think you have a lot of young guys that have a lot of potential, or younger guys. I think Taylor, has had his ups and downs, but there's a lot of potential there still to be excited about. And Kool-Aid, I think there's a ton to be excited about. And then if Lattimore can play up to his standards, he's an all-pro type of player. So I definitely think their defense will be good, but my main concern kind of rests on those older players, just like it did last year, and now they're 1 year older.
I know there's a lot of practice time between now and Saturday for y'all to watch, but what are you looking for in the game on Saturday? Is there one or two positions or players that you'll be keeping an eye on?
Offensive line immediately stands out to me. I was talking at practice to someone. I said, I kind of wonder how they're going to handle Fuaga. He has already become this really vital part of the offensive line. You can't get him hurt, yet he's a rookie. So do you play him in game one, or does he get the starter treatment? I think you have to play him a little. Then you look at Penning, and Penning needs to play. Penning needs to prove himself. They still have to figure out left guard. So offensive line to me is still a huge question mark. Then obviously I want to see Rattler versus Hayner and how they handle being under the spotlight. And then I'd like to see, more out of some of these younger guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry. So those are kind of my things I'm looking at.
We appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the week, and we'll talk to you down the road. Thanks, Kat.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
She's Catherine Terrell, covers the Saints for ESPN. You can check her out on Twitter at @Cat_Terrell. She again covers the New Orleans Saints for ESPN. Appreciate her giving us a little bit of time here on this Monday. All right, we got one more. Actually, I want to talk about something before we break because it's related to that. So I like that Cheetah NASCAR, whatever pressure style package, if we want to call it that the Saints have kind of shifted to, and it includes Bryan Bresee, who I think has a chance to be a good pass rusher as far as an interior player. Of course, the majority of your rush is going to come from your edge players. That goes without saying. And not a lot of interior players can rush the passer. What makes Aaron Donald so special. And I'm not, under any circumstance, expecting Bryan Bresee to play like the greatest interior defensive lineman in the history of the league. But it just changes the way that your defense can operate if you can get some rush from the inside. And if you kick Cam Jordan down in there and you play Bryan Bresee right next to him, and then you go with Chase Young and Carl Granderson, who are very much double-digit sack potential guys, that can be a really good package and a tough package for opposing offensive lines to deal with. It not only can help you on third downs, it can help you late in fourth quarters if you've got a lead and you've got a team that's got to sit back and throw the football. That's a group that I think should be able to get after the passer, and that's how you close games in the National Football League. You get to the passer, you get them on the ground, and you finish drives that way defensively. And so I think that group has a lot of potential, and I'm encouraged by the thought that they're going to put that group out there. While I don't think that Cam Jordan's got another 9-10 sack season in him from the perimeter, you put him on the interior, I still think he's a quality pass rusher. He's got enough size to play with those guys in the middle, and I think is savvy enough to maybe read and react based on really good pressure that you get from the edges if Young and Granderson do that, and he can be there in the middle to kind of clean things up. Bresee doing the same exact type thing. So that's I like that package that they're showing there, and we'll see that certainly when they get to the regular season. Saturday's game, a little bit different. I'm curious, like Kat is, to see how they kind of handle some of these young players who might be called upon to be starters. A lot of starters don't play in game one of the preseason, but they're young. Do they need to play? We'll kind of get some thoughts on that as we move forward. We'll certainly talk to Sharif tomorrow. We'll talk to Luke on Thursday, and we'll check in with Sean Pazan a little bit later. Matt has Ross Jackson on every single day at 5 o'clock for his camp. Look, he's certainly going to be covering the Saints for us for LouisianaSports.net. So lots and lots of Saints content coming your way here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Take a time out, come back and close things out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a huge issue in the bathroom, especially for those that are aging. If there's an aging person in your life that wants to stay at that home but may be in a hazardous situation in the bathroom, make things safer. Non-slip floors are available. handrails, guardrails around the tub, toilet, shower area. They can make those happen as well. Walk-in tubs. They can put benches in the shower. All these things make a hazardous area, the bathroom, a little safer for the aging loved one in your life. If that seems like something that you need to look into, look no further than One Bath and Closets. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Look at the results from their satisfied clients. Look at the pictures of their fantastic work and request that free consultation. When you get that free consultation started with David Duvall and his team, say, hey, Hunt Palmer Show sent me over here. $1,000 off right there. $1,000 off. Check them out online, onebathandclosets.com.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscone. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call
up on Tuesday's OTB. We'll bring you the latest from Paris, Saints training camp, LSU football training camp. Plus, Nick Underhill stops by and our guy Hold the Mayo with some spread lines. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Tune in Friday night for the first of 3 shows previewing all 16 SEC football teams as they prepare for the 2024 season. It's the SEC Radio Network's Battle for Atlanta, Friday night at 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, and 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are looking for the ultimate tailgate. Snap a pic of your setup and upload it to 104.5ESPN.com for a chance to win a $500 Rouse's gift card. Our judges will select a winner on August 29th. It's the ultimate tailgate giveaway from Rouse's Markets, Citizens Bank, and Trust in 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's going to be a gold medal for Mondo Duplantis right here in Lafayette, although he's competing for Sweden in these Olympic Games. He has a chance to go for the world record, which he will do here very, very shortly, but no one at this point. I don't know how the rules work in pole vaulting, but apparently you can say, I'm done, I'm not trying again. And it appears everyone has done that, and he's got the highest mark.
Well, no, actually, I was watching it,
Okay.
and there was two guys that they were up to 6 meters, which his record is 6.24.
Okay.
No one else has really come close to that, but they were at 6 meters. There was two other guys still remaining, and both of them failed. They get 3 attempts at it, and they both failed. So now it's just him left, and now he can try to jump as high as he wants.
All right, cool. Well, he's probably gonna jump pretty high, and he's gonna get a gold medal to bring on back to Lafayette for the country of Sweden. Mentioned earlier today that Klothunas, the beach volleyball duo from LSU, did get beat today in the round of 16. So their Olympic journey in Paris has come to an end. I'm watching some volleyball on the TV right now. Looks like the USA doing quite well indoors against Brazil. Hopefully they can finish that off. Looks like that's the quarterfinal. So the United States trying to get to the semis here in indoor men's volleyball. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Alrighty, first one here. U.S. sprinter Noah Lyles won the 100-meter sprint final yesterday by 0.005 milliseconds, edging out Jamaica's Shane Thompson and fellow American Fred Curley. All 8 competitors ran a sub-10-second time with only 0.12 milliseconds separating first and last place. This was the greatest race you've ever seen. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. It was incredible. I feel for the NBC broadcast crew that really missed the mark.
Yeah, that was
unfortunate.
unfortunate.
They were calling the Jamaican the winner.
Yeah.
But why? Like, just say they got to go to the photo. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's happening so quickly. They get the photo done in about 45 seconds. You can talk about the dynamics of the race. I get the sense that you want to capture the moment and give the gold medalist his shine, but you can't get it wrong. And that's, I mean, it's tough. Like, play-by-play is hard. I've done a little bit of it, and certainly nothing remotely near that stage. My last play-by-play was the Rougarou, so not quite the gold medal 100 meters. But that's tough. It was just an odd miss there when you can tell it's really close.
Yeah, I will say I watched it live.
I thought the Jamaican won.
I thought he did too. I think probably almost everybody watching immediately saw it and thought, oh, he won for sure. But it definitely was very close. And whenever they showed the replay, it's still hard to tell honestly because I mean 0.005 milliseconds is almost can't see that.
To me, no, you can't see that. My biggest takeaway from the race was Lyles was in ninth, like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just a terrible start.
It
I
was.
have no idea if that's par for the course for him or if that was just a bad start.
No, he's usually a pretty good starter.
It was awful, and he ran everybody down. He ran that group down. Like,
Yep.
I mean, that was
even
wild
in
to
the
see.
last like 20 meters, he was still pretty far back, and he closed the gap really unbelievably
Guys are like
fast.
flying.
I know. I'm devastated because I wanted him to lose so bad.
Why?
So bad.
How about a little pride in your country?
No. It's not about the. It's
It
more
is about the
No, it's
country.
about Noah Lyles. I dislike him very much.
I never heard of him until yesterday.
Oh no,
so.
he's the guy that was like NBA champions. Y'all not world champions. All that.
Okay.
So
Well, I think
he's that guy. So
I
I
mean,
don't
He's a
like him.
showman.
I will say that there were a lot of people dogging him for his heats in the semifinal. He didn't
Yeah.
win. However, he won the gold medal. So
Yeah, that's all that matters.
if you win the gold medal, you can say whatever you want, in my opinion.
You know what I've
He
never
can say-
understood
he can say that.
about sprinting? Why Usain Bolt would pull up with 10 meters to go. He still would
Celebrate?
win, but why would
Yeah.
he just run through it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I never understood that.
I
But
think-
it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of cooler now knowing that I could have been faster than my world
You
record.
don't even know how
Yeah.
fast I could run because no one can even get close enough to make me try.
Yeah.
All right, next one here. The Cubs took 3 of 4 from the Cardinals. They're 6 games out of
Should've
a
been a
wild
sweep.
card spot. The season is still alive. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Hunt, what?
They
I don't-
traded their best reliever.
Okay,
They're
that's
done.
fine. They got.
They're 6 games out, but they're like 6 teams behind.
It's still 6 games, Hunt. No matter how
Yeah,
many
but
teams
you
are in
can
between
only
them.
make because there are so many teams between you and them. It just makes it far less likely.
Okay.
They're toast. They should have swept the Cardinals. That's positive. You keep the Cardinals out of the playoffs, biggest dorks in the league. That's great. But the Cubs are done. It's a sad story.
You know what, Hein?
However, they called 3 more guys up to Iowa. Now Iowa's got all our prospects, which is really cool. I will pay almost as much attention to the Iowa Cubs as I do the Chicago Cubs for the last 2 months.
That's sad.
That is a sad state of affairs.
You're a sad state of affairs.
That's where the franchise is.
All right, last one here.
Last place.
John Rahm had a 4-shot lead with 8 holes to play and didn't medal. I'm sure you were really upset by seeing that, Hunt. Take it or leave it.
That was incredible. He had a 4-shot lead. I go out for a run. I come back. I didn't even see him on the leaderboard. I thought he fell in a pond or something. Hate to see that.
He did not
Rombo.
fall in a pond, actually. He just shot 39 on the back 9.
It was like me out. That's just very poor play. I love to see it. And no medal for you, John. So go ahead and compete at Live Singapore or wherever the heck you're going next. Enjoy that. I'm sure there'll be some drunk people yelling your backswing you can complain about. And I hope he's disappointed every time he swings a golf club, quite frankly. So that was great. That was great theater. Shout out Scotty with the gold. We like that. All right, that's it for a Monday edition of Hunt Palmer Show presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. LSU back on the practice field tomorrow. I'll be there. Have a full report tomorrow. Glenn West and Sharif Ishaq will join us as well. Missed any of today's show? Catch it on demand. All of our camp stuff on YouTube. Hunt on LSU. Hunt on Saints. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR coming up next. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for the Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.